electric pulse, okay, also produce this magnetic field. Yeah. The magnitude is very small, it's 10 to the minus 13. Is there any question? This MRI, usually this magnetic resonance, I forgot I, what is I? Magnetic resonance. Yeah, I mean, it's used for medical purpose. Yeah. Okay, for example, this is a small exercise, for example, a small example, example of problem. So we have an electron in the on the television tubes, yeah, this one, move toward the front of the tube with the speed 8 times 10 to 6 meters per second along the x-axis as in the figure. Yeah. Surrounding of the neck of the tube are the coils of wire that create a magnetic field of magnitude 0.025 Tesla. Directed at the angle of 60 degrees to the x-axis and lying on the xy plane. A, calculate the magnetic force on the electron using the formulation, this 29.2. So this 29.2, you just insert, for example, the magnitude of the charge of an electron, and then speed, and also the magnetic field, the magnitude of the magnetic field, and the sinus of the theta, the angle between the magnetic field, okay? So we have the magnitude, the force magnitude that acting on the electron. Okay, because this magnitude is positive, this magnitude of the force, okay? But in if you walk in well, in the vector quantity, in the vector representation, for example, this one, we have v is the velocity of the electron along the x-axis, okay? And then this b here, b in the vector representation like this, okay? And the key and the fb, key v cross b, this key is minus, okay? Minus e times the velocity of the electron and the magnetic field, okay? So we have that the force X on an electron is along this z-axis, okay? But we have a minus here. So it is directed to the minus z-axis, okay? So this is the vector. So this is the magnitude, always positive, and this is in the vector representation. Or vector picture, something like that. Any question? Any question? Okay, about the cross product, so we have a unit vector, I, G, and K, okay? I cross I is 0, I cross G is K. That you have to remember. It also, it holds something like cyclic relation. I cross G equal K, K cross I equal G, and then G cross K equal I. That's the cross product. Okay, this is the magnetic force acting on a charge. And then we will discuss about this wire. Sorry, this is, yeah, something like this, a wire. We have a wire, for example, in this picture. This I is represent the current. Yeah. At initial condition, we have this equal I equals 0. And then if we have I not equal to 0, the wire will bend, yeah, like this. Okay, if the direction of this I is from down to up, okay, this will bend to the left. And if the current is the other way around, for example, from up to down, it will bend to the right. Okay. Why is that? You see that from this 29.3, this one, I, L cross B. So L, the factor L is, for example, in the C, in the figure 29.7C, this L is from down to up, okay? So the direction of the magnetic field is inside the paper, inside the book, okay? Inside the surface. So if you have for example, the fingers to the to the in the direction of B, okay, and this I'm sorry. So the force, the direction of the force is to the right, okay? So this L, it should be the other way around. So from up, so from down to up, okay? It is the opposite direction to this I, yeah, okay? Is there any question? Any question?
So this is like the right-hand rule, right, sir?
Yeah, exactly. So you could you could set, for example, the thumb is the direction of the force. So these the rest four fingers is in the direction of B, okay? So L here, this L, the factor L, yeah, is what is it? Yeah, from up to down. Yeah. Okay. So this expression only applies on if the B here is constant. It's constant. If the B is, for example, produced by an alternating current, for example, this B, the direction of B will alternate also. So this bend also. Okay. Let me show you another example. Okay, this figure 29.8, you see that this is, for example, this positive particle. So it moves to the left, yeah. Sorry, to the right. Okay, to the right. So you set, for example, this v is in the direction of the velocity, this v drift. And the rest 4 fingers is B, yeah, B in. Okay, the force should be in a, up like this. Okay. Okay. So in general, for example, if we have this L here, they have this infinitesimal. For example, for non-constant B, we have only this ds here. Ds, for example, in the direction of the current. Okay. ds cross B. So if we consider, for example, the wire, yeah, from A to B, we get this integral. Okay. So this integral, let's say if the B is constant, so we have A to B should be L prime, okay? This I L prime cross B. So this is the S here, for example, and this is L prime, okay? Because this is cross, okay? It preserves only let's say, only the perpendicular to this B, okay? So if ds, the component of ds which is parallel to B, the cross will be 0. Okay. Okay, this one, for example, we have a semicircle wire. The radius is R as in the picture. Okay. So for example, we have this I flows through this wire. And we have B, yeah, from up to the, from down to up, okay? What about the force on the circle? So in the circle, and from this, yeah, on this wire, yes. So we have, let's say L, this L cross B, this is, we have, what is it? Of the force, okay? Of the force is 2 outside the paper, in this case, in this straight line, okay? But in the curve line here, it will be the opposite. I mean, the direction of the force will be inside to come to inside of this the surface. Okay, so this F1 is related to force acting on this straight line, this F2, okay, this force acted on this curve line, okay. If we sum these two force, it will be 0, okay. Okay, but the moment magnetic, we call it, is non-zero. What is moment magnetic is the surface, is the current times an area of this semicircle wire. Let me see if there is. Okay, this one. For example, this one, this torque, yeah, okay, like this. There is a torque here. This torque is IAB. IAB. This is the rectangular. Okay, so in general, IA, A is the area of this rectangular. We could replace it by the area of this semicircle wire, okay, in general. So this defines the moment magnetic mu, this one. This A vector means that we have A times the unit vector, a normal vector, yeah? Normal vector. So we get that's the torque. This torque is a vector, is equal to mu cross B. So in this case, for example, like this, the resultant of all vectors equal to 0, but the torque is non-zero. It means that this rectangular and also this semicircle wire, they rotate, yeah, they rotate perpendicular to this magnetic field in general. Any question? Okay, so this is the energy, the potential energy of this dipole magnetic. So like the energy potential of the dipole, electric dipole, the magnetic dipole is minus mu dot B. The potential of the electric dipole is P dot E, where P is the dipole, electric dipole, while mu, this U here in magnetic energy, the potential energy of a magnetic field is minus mu dot B, where mu is the magnetic field, the moment magnetic, yeah, and B is the magnetic field. So this is the example, for example. This example 29.3 is the magnetic dipole of a coil. Coil, I think. Okay, coil, yeah, okay, it's coil. So we have a rectangular coil, yeah, the dimension like this A and B. We have this area, okay, and so we have this 25 turns of wire, okay. So this N is the number of coil, okay. Sorry, the number of these turned wire, yeah. Turn wire. Okay, the current is 15 milliampere and the magnetic field is 0.35 Tesla. So we have the magnitude of this magnetic dipole moment. we have n I times a, okay? So this equal 1.72 times 2 to the minus 3 a ampere meter square. So this is the magnitude of moment dipole. What about the magnitude of the torque acting on the loop, on this rectangular coil, rectangular loop? So we have mu coil times B, okay? The torque will be the units and Newton meter. Okay, that's the example. Okay, motion of the charged particle in uniform magnetic field. So if we have, for example, a positive charge, yeah, moving in the magnetic field, on a uniform magnetic field, the path of this electric charge will be a circle, yeah? Not really the circle, this is see from the above. In reality, this is not really a circle, but like a spiral motion, spiral motion. For example, in this case, B is inward, yeah, inward. The direction of the B is inward to this surface of this paper. Okay, so it will this spiral motion of this positive charge particle will be along this B, okay? This magnetic field. So if we see from the above, yeah, using the second Newton's law, as you have already studied last semester, this AC here is the centripetal acceleration. Okay, and if we assume that there is no angular acceleration, so this angular velocity will be constant. Okay, then we only have centripetal acceleration, no tangential acceleration. Okay, because FB here, you see from the picture, FB is Q times V times B. Okay, this equals to mv squared over r. So we get that the radius of this particle is equals to mv over qb. Okay, so the magnitude of this radius depends on the mass, on this speed or velocity of the particle, and over Q and B. Okay. Okay. So this is the angular speed, yeah. This one, and then if you calculate the period of this circular motion, we have this 2 pi m over qb. Okay, so this is what I mean, what I said yesterday. If the direction of B is parallel to this x-axis, then this positive particle will helical, well, not spiral, helical motion, this helical, like this, okay? But if negative, we have the opposite direction, okay? Is that clear what I'm saying? It's helical motion, not spiral motion. Spiral motion, we have the radius is changing. Okay, depends on time, but we have this constant radius, so it should be helical motion, not spherical, not spiral motion. I'm sorry. That's I correct my statement before. It's helical motions. Any question? Is that clear so far?
I think it's clear, sir.
Okay. You can see also in Halliday Resnick, but I use another books. You can also search in the internet. This book is Serway, Physics for Scientists and Engineers. So this is, for example, this Earth, and this is the magnetic field of the Earth, yeah. And somehow this magnetic field is non-uniform magnetic field produced by the Earth, and also it's made up of the charged particle, yeah. It's hypothesized that this magnetic field coming from the charged particle inside the Earth. It's very weak magnetic field. It's also this magnetic field in the sky. It forms so-called the Van Allen belts. Okay. Yeah, this caused by non-uniform magnetic field, yeah, traps the charged particle in the atmosphere. Okay.
So I actually have a question, sir.
Yes, yes.
You said that helical motion and spherical motion are different, right?
Okay, spherical. So this is helical. So helical is a constant radius. Okay, the motion of a constant radius, but it moves along an axis. Let's say x. Spherical motion, the radius is not constant. Okay. Yeah, it could also the particle could moves along an axis, but with different radius each time. You can you can imagine a cone. A cone.
Yes.
Yeah, a cone. You consider, for example, a proton or electron move around the cone. That's spiral motion.
Okay.
In general.
I understand now. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this helical path is something like cylindrical motion. So this charged particle moves on the surface of the cylinder. They have the same radius, but along an axis. Okay, is there any question? Okay, let's make it quick. So this is, so in general, for example, if the charged particle moving in an electric field and a magnetic field, we call it an electromagnetic field because there is electric field E and the magnetic field B. Okay, the charge experience this both electric and magnetic fields. Okay, then we have the force exerted on the particle is equal to this one, QE times QV cross B. Okay. So if we have the first law of Newton first law of motion, then this F exerts on a particle equals to 0. It means that we have the force, the magnetic force, and the electric force is the opposite into each other, like this picture. Okay. And the particle will move, the path of the particle will be straight line, okay? Because the path of the particle is straight line, okay, this V here, it should be constant. So the resultant of this electric force times the magnetic force equal to 0. If we take the magnitude, then the magnitude of this magnetic force equals to the magnitude of the electric force. Okay? Then we get this equation. V equals E over B. So this device, we call it this velocity selector. It means that we select, we filter, we choose or we filter the particle which has a velocity or the speed of the particle is satisfy this relation, okay? If not satisfy the relation, it will be goes to, for example, negative will be goes to positive pole, and this negative will be lost to the to this positive pole. If positive, it will be fall to this negative pole. Okay. So there is a particle in which they have somehow get away from this device. Okay, so this particle will, the velocity of the particle will satisfy this relation. Okay, and then after that, after we select this velocity, I mean, we could determine the velocity of this particle using this electric field, and magnetic field. Somehow we can vary the electric field and the magnetic field to get to know, to get the speed of the particle. Okay. Usually, I mean, this selector used in elementary particle. So elementary particle is the particle which we cannot see, okay, by the bare eyes. Okay. And then after that, after we compute or calculate the velocity of this particle, then this particle will go to the room where in this chamber, not room, chamber, in this chamber, we turn on this B0, okay? And the direction of B0 is to inside this to the paper, okay? So they will have this circular path, okay? Then we could also compute the radius of this particle to get this relation, okay? This 29.18. This relation founded by this Joseph Thomson, a British physicist, maybe around 18th centuries, around 18th centuries. He measured the ratio between E over me. This E is the charge, the unit charge of the electron, and me is the mass of the electrons. Yeah. And this Joseph Thomson awarded a Nobel Prize, I think, in around 1910 or 1920, I forgot. This Joseph Thomson, yeah, is a very interesting person because his son, George Thomson, also a Nobel laureate, also is a physicist who showed that the electron can have wave properties. George Thomson. His father is Joseph Thomson. And I think most of his students also are Nobel laureates, yeah. Like Bohr, for example, Rutherford, not Bohr, yeah. Rutherford, Dirac, many of them. And then we have cyclotron. Cyclotron is a device that can accelerate the charged particle, yeah, using magnetic field and electric field. So cyclotron means that cycle. Yeah, this device, this circle, okay, is the place where the particle is accelerated, okay, using magnetic field and also inside this electric field. So usually this cyclotron used in early phase around 1920 is to, how usually we use this to find elementary particle, yeah. Somehow, if we want to know about the structure of matter, we need more energy to penetrate deeper, okay, of this material, okay. But today, this cyclotron can use in medical purposes, like MRI, for example, X-ray, that because this is could also produce an X-ray, the collision, yeah, many things, yeah, many applications. We skip the whole effect. Okay, it's summary. Is there any question so far? Okay. So okay, let's stop. Let's share Halliday-Resnick. How they Halliday-Resnick, sorry. Okay, this is the same. So this right-hand rule, yeah, right-hand rule. So this usually the picture of electron, yeah, electron and its antiparticle called positron. So in the magnetic field, for example, the electron will move to the right like this. Yeah. They also it also moves, yeah, helical motion, yeah, with radius, certain radius. But its positron, its this antiparticle of electron has a positive charge. Yeah, it moves the other way around. Okay, moves to the left. Yeah, but somehow the radius almost the same. Yeah, this because usually this positron, the energy is higher than this electron. So usually this we could see this only this part here in the chamber, yeah? Bubble, we call it bubble chamber. It's saturated gas, yeah, that if the high energy particle will somehow ionize, yeah, the outer electrons of the gas, and it will produce a photon. These photons will somehow indicates the path of the high energy particle, like electron or positron. So this is okay. It's already. Okay. So this is the electron picture, yeah. Moves in circular path in the chamber that contains a gas, yeah, at low pressure. Okay. Somehow when the electron moves, it ionizes the outer orbital electron of the gas, and the electron that ionizes to the higher energy state will excited, and the resulting will emit the photon, this electromagnetic radiation. This electromagnetic radiation will indicate the path of these electrons. Okay. So this is helical path as I shown you before. So this is spiral, okay? This is a spiral motion. The radius is not constant, this one in this case. So, okay, this is synchrotron. So this one, yeah, okay. This phenomenon observed by Oersted, yeah. Oersted. Any question? We have the same. Okay, we have finished one section, yeah. Okay, let's start with another section. Unless you have a question. Okay, let's start with the source of the magnetic field. Yeah. So as we've seen before, we have discussed the current. Yeah? The current, for example, the current flows through the wire, and then we have discussed about how it become bends, yeah, when the magnetic field. Okay, so the current itself we could see as the source of the magnetic field, yeah, according to, we call it so-called Biot-Savart law. This 29.1. These Biot-Savart laws state that the current can be produced a magnetic field. Okay. This 29.1 is called, sorry. What do you see? I'm sorry. Do you see the Biot-Savart law or the other way around? Oh, okay. This one, sorry. Okay. Okay, this is 31, okay, Biot-Savart law. So this current, yeah, that flows to the wire, okay, can be viewed as the source of the magnetic field. Okay. So this mu0, we call it the permeability of vacuum. Epsilon 0 is permittivity of vacuum. Okay, then mu0 is permeability of vacuum. Okay. So this is the infinitesimal form. If we get B, we just integral this one. Usually, we assume that I is a constant, okay, or depend on time also, but this ds here is the coordinate, okay. I will give you an example. For example, this one, okay, a thin wire, yeah. This ds here, and this is r hat, okay. R hat is the unit vector of the field coordinates, okay. So because this is cross here, ds cross r hat, okay, it should be around this k, the direction, okay. So the direction of the magnetic field, it should be k hat, the k hat, okay. So this manipulation you could see from the picture, okay. This r somehow is related to a over sin theta. It's the cosecant theta, okay. If we take that this theta 1 to theta 2, this b should be integral to theta 1 to theta 2. And we get this equation 30.4. Okay. So this is the theta 1 and this is the theta 2. Okay. If we have a very long thin wire, or this A is very small compared to this L, the length of the thin wire, then we get this theta 1 goes to 0, and then this theta 2 goes to P, 180 degrees. Okay, so we get this 30.5 equation. Any question about this one?
So, sir, if we have a certain length of, for example, we have L, we use the cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's a very a long line,
yeah,
we use the
30.5.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So usually, for example, this cos theta, if we take this O here in the middle, like this L over 2, this L over 2, then it should be the same, well, it's not this, this L, this cos theta is L over 2 over square root A squared plus L over 2 squared. Okay. this θ2 is in the second quadrant. Okay, it should be minus, so cos theta in the quadrant 2 is minus, so this should be plus. If in the middle, it should be mu 0 I over 2 pi a, mu 0 I over 2 pi. Yeah, this is a cos theta, for example, in the middle, okay? This cos theta is equal to L over 2 times, L over 2 divided by square root L over 2 squared times A squared. So if L is very long compared to this A, then we get this 30.5. In other words, we have a very long, thin wire. Okay, in general, if we have a thin wire, okay, the direction of the B is circular, yeah, it's circular path, this B here, according to this right-hand rule, okay? So the direction of B in general is circular path, okay, like this. So for example, this one, we have a magnetic, calculate the magnetic field at the point O for this current, okay? So in this case, for example, the magnetic field from this line here and this line is 0, okay? So we have only this, what we call it, this band line here, okay? Okay, then this electric field, the magnetic field, yeah, we have, according to Biot-Savart law, is mu 0 I over 4 pi ds over r squared. Okay. Because ds cross r is perpendicular, yeah. So we have only ds because it's perpendicular. Okay. So if we integral this ds, so the length of the path is equal to theta times r, okay? So we get this one. If this band, this curved wire, if we take theta equals to 2 pi, it means that this curved wire become a circular, okay? So full circular wire, the magnitude on the center, at the center of the circle is this one, okay? Another example, okay, another example of Biot-Savart law. So we get, for example, a ring here. Okay, we have current here flows through the ring. Okay, calculate the magnetic field at the x-axis, yeah, that the distance, at point P, yeah, capital P, the distance between the origin, the center of the ring, to the P is x, for example. Okay. So the magnitude of this R here, because the S here and R hat is this one, as you see in the picture, it is perpendicular, okay? So ds cross R is equal to ds. Okay, this R squared, capital R here is x squared plus capital R squared. Okay. You see that, for example, if we have this element, this one, okay, this is BE. If we take exactly below here, the point, then the y component, yeah, of this magnetic field is by, but the direction is down, okay? So they will cancel to each other. If we take full circular wire, yeah, the y-axis component of the magnetic field, okay? So we left only the x components of this magnetic field, okay? So we get this ds only 2 pi r, okay? And this cos theta, you see that this cos theta is, from this, the law of cosinus, it's r over x square root, square root x squared plus r squared. Okay, and then we get this bx for this ring if this the magnetic field on this at this point P is 30.7. Okay, if we take at the center of this ring, it means that we take x to 0. Okay, then we get this 30.8. Is there any question? Any question? Okay, this is the picture of the ring that where it on the ring there is a current flows around the ring, and the form of magnetic field is like this, and this form a dipole magnetic. It's not spherical coordinates. It's not spherical symmetric. I'm sorry. So the last one is the magnetic force between two parallel conductors. This conductor also has a current that flows through this conductor. As you see that this, for example, if the for example, this first wire and this is the second wire, okay, this first wire we have the same length, but they have different current. So for example, in first wire we have I1, and the distance between them is A, okay? And the magnetic field in this case is B in this direction. Then we get, then we get this F here through this, the direction of this F1 is into this I2, okay? So this F1 is I1 L B2, okay? But B2 here coming from the second wire, okay? This mu 0 I2 over 2 pi A. Okay, so the force acting on first wire is this one, okay, 30.11. If we calculate for F2, you will have the same formulation. Yeah? I mean, the magnitude of F1 is equal to the magnitude of F2. But they have different direction, opposite direction. Okay, maybe we will continue tomorrow, yeah, at 2 o'clock. I will summarize our lecture today in bahasa, ya. Jadi kita sudah membahas tadi, kita kembali lagi ke ini sebelumnya. Jadi kita sudah membahas tentang perilaku apa namanya? Jadi tentang perilaku apa partikel bermuatan dalam medan magnetik, ya. Jadi ini contohnya, ya. Jadi misalkan ada sebuah partikel bergerak dalam medan magnetik, ya. Ini dia kecepatan arah V ke sana, arah B ke sana. Ya, jadi karena ini cross, jadi kita dapatkan FB itu ke atas, ya. Dan FB di sini yang merupakan vektor gaya magnetik pada muatan Q kecil, itu dia tegak lurus dengan arah gerak partikel dengan medan magnetiknya, gitu ya. Jadi ini tegak lurus keduanya karena dia itu cross. Nah, ini kalau kita lihat yang sebelah kanan, ini artinya kalau dia itu negatif itu artinya ke sebelah kiri bergeraknya, kalau yang positif dia sebelah kanan. Jadi dia berlawanan lah gitu. Seperti itu. Nah, ini aturan tangan kanan gitu ya. Jadi ini bisa kita pilih, misalkan B 4 jari itu B ke sana, terus yang jempol ya arah kecepatan gitu ya. Nah, arah telapak tangan itu menggambarkan yang vektor. Atau bisa juga balik, misalkan arah F-nya itu ke atas ya, jempol. Ya. Arah B itu telapak tangan, arah jari itu kecepatan, itu juga bisa, sama. Kemudian besarnya FB itu adalah besar Q VB sin theta. Jadi theta ini adalah sudut antara V dan B. Dan satuan dari medan magnetik itu adalah 1 Tesla, ya. Itu adalah 1 Newton per Coulomb per meter per sekon. Jadi ini beberapa contoh tadi yang saya jelaskan, ya. Apa namanya terkait dengan ini. Anda bisa cari di ini. Ini kemudian sebagai contoh apa namanya elektron yang bergerak dalam tabung PV gitu ya, seperti ini. Jadi ini kita tentukan besarnya, ini adalah vektornya, kita pakai cross gitu ya. Jadi kalau vektornya itu lengkap, ada arah dan besar dan juga di sini minus, karena elektron ya, karena elektron. Kemudian apa namanya gaya pada kawat bermuatan ya, pada di dalam medan magnetik gitu ya. Jadi bengkok ke kiri itu artinya ada gaya ke kiri ya. Jadi sebenarnya lebih tepatnya ini sebenarnya arah apa ya, memang arah L itu dia bisa jadi dari atas dari bawah ke atas, tapi kenapa dia itu arah ke kiri itu terkait dengan arah ini apa namanya, karena itu kan dia negatif apa arah arus ya. Sedangkan arah arus itu kan realitas itu kan sebenarnya arah elektron yang terbalik. Oke, jadi makanya karena arah elektron yang terbalik, dia jadi arahnya ke sini, gitu. Ke kiri. Sedangkan kalau arah arusnya dari atas ke bawah itu terbalik, dia ke kanan. Gitu. Jadi Anda balik aja bahwa I di sini itu adalah arah elektron, jadi dibalik arahnya. Gitu. Kemudian apa lagi? Ini terkait kalau dia B-nya tidak konstan ya secara umum. Jadi diambil I-nya konstan atau bergantung waktu saja. Jadi FB di sini pada kawat ya. Gaya magnetik pada kawat itu adalah I kali integral A sampai B ds cos B. Oke, jika B-nya itu konstan atau uniform, ya ini dapatnya seperti ini. Nah, ini jadi contoh misalkan ini ds seperti ini. Jadi kalau kita integrasikan dari A ke B, itu nanti yang bertahan itu cuma yang tegak lurus terhadap B. Kalau yang paralel, dia itu akan 0. Oke. Nah, ini yang terbuka, contohnya kalau yang tertutup tuh ini. Nah, kalau yang tertutup itu nanti biasanya kita dapatkan apa tuh namanya momen magnetik ya. Nah, contohnya seperti ini. Yang F1 dan F2. F1 dia arahnya positif, ya itu berarti di garis lurus ini. Yang kawat lurus, sedangkan kawat yang bentuknya semilingkaran atau melingkar itu minus seperti ini. Oke. Jumlahannya itu akan 0. Ya, memang dia diam di tempat, tapi dia berotasi kan. Karena kenapa? Ada torsi di sana. Oke, ini contohnya. Kita ambilnya untuk yang persegi panjang dulu, ya persegi. Gitu. Jadi didapatkan bahwa F2 dengan 4 itu adalah sama ya, IAB. Jadi kalau kita dinikan torsinya, itu ternyata ini adalah IAB kecil kali B besar. Ya, jadi tau max itu disebut torsi, itu adalah IA kali B. Dan I kali A itu kita sebutnya adalah momen dipol magnetik. I kali A ya, A vektor. Jadi A vektor itu adalah A kali vektor normalnya. Sedangkan torsinya di sini adalah mu cross B. Nah, kemudian energi potensial atau dari sistem ya. Jadi kalau untuk yang dipol itu adalah minus P dot E, di mana P di sini adalah momen dipol elektrik. Sedangkan untuk yang magnetik itu tinggal diganti aja. Apa energi potensial itu adalah minus mu dot B. Di mana mu itu adalah momen magnetik dipol ya. Dan B itu adalah medan magnetnya. Nah, torsi ini yang menyebabkan kawat itu yang berbentuk coil, berbentuk lingkaran atau kumparan itu dia berputar ya. Karena ada torsi, tapi dia tidak bergerak translasi karena jumlah gayanya 0. Oke. Jadi kalau ini adalah gerak helikal, ya artinya gerak partikel bermuatan dalam medan magnetik, ya dia jari-jarinya tetap. Sedangkan kalau yang spiral tadi saya bilang itu jari-jarinya berubah, tidak tetap. Contohnya mana ya? Nah ini contohnya ini adalah gerak spiral ya. Kenapa ini di sini tuh dia tidak tetap jari-jarinya? Itu gerak spiral namanya. Kemudian ini contoh adalah medan magnetik bumi ya, yang dihipotesakan ini dihasilkan oleh partikel bermuatan dalam bumi gitu ya. Ini menghasilkan yang disebut namanya sabuk Van Allen yang merupakan karena medan magnetik ini kan dia sebutnya dipol, dia memperangkap ya partikel-partikel itu yang bermuatan di dalamnya gitu. Sehingga bentuknya bentuk sabuk. Kemudian ada juga disebut namanya selektor partikel. Jadi kita istilahnya bisa mengetahui kalau misalkan ini adalah sumber partikel, biasanya adalah sumber-sumber partikel yang meluruh gitu ya, ada peluruhan, biasanya peluruhan bermuatan itu peluruhan alfa dengan beta gitu ya. Jadi ini source-nya itu radioaktif. Nah, kita ingin mengukur berapa kecepatan dari elektron yang hasil peluruhan beta. Nah, itu biasanya kita dengan mengubah-ubah E dan B. Ya, E dan B, sehingga dia bisa bergerak lurus beraturan dengan kecepatan sekian. Jadi bisa kita pilih. Dan karena kita bisa tahu kecepatannya, ini nanti dari sini itu dimasukkan lagi ke yang disebut namanya spektrometer massa. Jadi spektrometer massa itu adalah dia biasanya ada kamar di sana yang pakai gas, ya gas jenuh. Nah nanti biasanya kalau elektron itu atau partikel bermuatan itu masuk ke situ, partikel itu kan sangat tinggi energinya. Nah dia akan menumbuk partikel tersebut sehingga elektron terluarnya itu tereksitasi ke keadaan tidak stabil terus balik lagi. Nah, itu memancarkan foton. Nah, pemancaran foton itu tuh menandakan istilahnya titik-titik di mana partikel tersebut melintas gitu ya. Jadi lah bentuknya kayak seperti lingkaran gitu seperti itu. Nah, itu contohnya. Nah, selain itu juga kita dari sini tuh bisa mendeteksi massa gitu ya, massa dari partikel. Nah, ini yang terkenal ini adalah hubungan antara Q per M atau M per Q. Ini diturunkan oleh Joseph Thomson ya, sekitar 1800 berapa gitu ya. Dan dia dianugerahi hadiah Nobel gitu ya. Yang menariknya itu adalah Joseph Thomson ini anaknya itu pemenang hadiah Nobel juga. George Thomson yang membuktikan, yang menunjukkan bahwa elektron dapat bersifat gelombang. Kemudian ini sikroton. Sikroton itu adalah alat pemecah partikel. Dia bentuknya lingkaran seperti ini. Jadi partikel itu memang dipercepat secara melingkar dengan medan magnetik. Plus medan listrik juga sebenarnya. Plus medan listrik juga sebenarnya. Ini kita lompat, Hall effect. Kemudian kita membahas tentang sumber dari medan listrik, medan magnetik ya. Itu adalah contohnya itu adalah kawat bermuatan menurut hukum Biot-Savart ya. Jadi dia ada persamaan 3.1 dan kita udah ambil contoh misalkan untuk kawat bermuatan ya. Seperti ini cos theta 1. Jadi kalau ngambil cos theta 2, ini kan theta 1 itu sudut lancip, jadi koordinat 1. Kalau theta 2 itu sudut tumpul ya, saya istilahnya lupa kalau dalam bahasa Inggrisnya itu. Jadi theta 2 ini nanti dia sudutnya di atas 90, nanti ini jadi minus, karena di sini minus jadi plus, oke? Biasanya kalau misalkan dia itu sangat, misalkan dia itu pas di tengah-tengah, berarti misalkan ini theta 1 ini berapa biasanya? Kalau pas di tengah-tengah. Ya bergantung pada panjang ininya, panjang apa namanya? Panjang kawatnya dan juga jaraknya gitu. Jadi, nah secara umum kalau itu sangat panjang, ya, artinya A di sini itu lebih kecil dibandingkan dengan panjangnya dari panjang kawat, ya, maka didapatkan seperti ini. Atau dengan kata lain, kita punya kawat yang sangat panjang. Kemudian ini kita ambil contoh lagi untuk yang kawat berbentuk lingkaran, ya. Seperti ini. Ya, ini theta di sini. Ini adalah medan magnetik yang dihasilkan dari kawat yang berbentuk busur seperti ini. Sedangkan A prime di sini itu 0 ya, karena dia itu bisa dikatakan DR-nya itu 0, del cross R-nya. Begitu juga yang di C ya, C prime. Jadi yang ini tuh cuma tinggal yang A ke C saja. Oke, kalau satu lingkaran itu seperti ini. Kemudian terakhir itu adalah kalau dia itu kawatnya berbentuk cincin. Cincin dialiri arus gitu ya. Nah di sini kalau kita lihat ini kan arah B-nya ke sana, itu ada arah dalam sumbu X dengan sumbu Y. Kalau kita ambil titik, ini di atas, ini di bawah, yang berlawanan dengan ini, tapi dia itu di bawah, dia akan menghasilkan DBY-nya itu yang ke bawah. Sedangkan X-nya tetap ke sana ya, ke kanan yang positif. Sehingga nanti kalau kita ambil lingkaran dia, komponen Y dari B itu 0, yang tinggal adalah komponen X-nya, adalah seperti ini. Oke? Ada pertanyaan nggak? Pertanyaan? Halo? Kuis kemarin gimana?